Coming in at number 97, we have Denver Broncos outside linebacker Bradley Chubb, who there were definitely a lot of questions about entering into last season, and rightfully so, right? As first off, how would he be able to bounce back after tearing his ACL and missing 12 games in 2019? That's a major injury for everyone, but especially an edge rusher who so much of what you do is predicated on your explosive athleticism. That could be really problematic, right? So, would he be able to return to that 2018 form where as a rookie he had 12 sacks, or would he take one step back, two steps back? Just where was he at in his recovery, and what would he be able to offer the Broncos in 2020? Nobody really knew the answers to those questions, and the next thing you know, to compound the issue and make things even worse, Von Miller goes down right before the season starts, right? Tears a tendon in his ankle, and all of a sudden, Chubb is kind of unsuspectingly thrust into that role of being the Broncos' primary pass rusher. And that's a pretty messed up career trajectory if you think about it, right? You go from essentially being the Robin to Von Miller's Batman in 2018 as a rookie to next thing you know, you're on the sidelines like Alfred rehabbing a torn ACL, and then boom, all of a sudden, unsuspecting, you're that guy, right? You have to be the Broncos Batman, like it or not, sink or swim. What are you going to do? And, to his credit, I really do think that Chubb stepped up to the challenge and he swam, right? I think that, as much as was put on his plate, I really do believe that he handled it all, and that's why I have him at number 97. So with that being said, let's hop into the film and see what it is that Chubb does that I think makes him so special. And for a guy like Chubb, who so much of his game was predicated on being an explosive athlete, running a 4.65 out of NC State just by example, that ACL could have derailed his career, right? There's a very real chance of that. But, you see here, you put on the film, and it really does look like he's recovered close to, if not 100% of his athleticism, right? Whether it's plowing through this Patriots left tackle, putting him on his back and forcing a fumble, or as you saw earlier, getting that uncontested tackle against the Chiefs, or, chasing down running backs from the backside, right? All still there. And also, I think that we have to talk about his quickness as well, right? Because even the short, sudden movements where, put a foot in the ground and, kind of give a guy a shimmy to, beat him to the spot, I think that Chubb still has that ability as well, right? Especially in terms of his lateral agility. That's what you're going to see here, whether it's Tristan Wirfs or, anybody that you put in front of him, Taylor Lewan. He's making a lot of these guys look silly because he's so agile in terms of you don't necessarily know where he's going. C gap, B gap, he could pick either one at the last possible second. And, next up what I wanted to talk about was his just ability as a pass rusher. And I put these two together, hand usage and bend, because he's so good at getting to the edge with his hands, whether it's a swim, a rip, a chop, a swipe, any of those things. But then once he gets past your hips as a tackle, just look at the way he's able to sink and make a straight beeline towards the quarterback, right? Just so impressive. And then you compound that with the fact that he has a relentless motor, right? It was there at NC State, and the NFL is no different, right? You see tons of these plays, whether, his first move doesn't work, his second move sometimes doesn't. He's still doing everything he can to disengage and make plays, and, it's just a sight to see, right? This one, it looks like Wirfs finally has him. Tom Brady stepping up in the pocket. 3-4 seconds after you think the ball would be gone, he's still able to break off and make a play. Like this one, I have no idea what Sam Darnold does on this play, but regardless, right? Even though that initial inside move does get kind of pinched off by the left tackle, Chubb's motor doesn't stop, right? And eventually, you see him cleaning up a lot of these plays just due to the simple fact that he's going for harder and longer than a lot of these other offensive players. And that same high-level technique and motor that's there against the pass is also there against the run for Chubb, and that really is what sets him apart from a lot of the other young edge rushers in the league. Very few guys have the technical prowess that Chubb does, particularly in terms of stacking and shedding, right? So you're going to watch these reps where just has perfect hand placement off the ball, gets his hands right into the opponent's chest, bench presses them off, and then, in the meantime is looking with his eyes in the backfield to see where's the ball carrier going, shedding, and making a play. Just beautiful, so technically sound, particularly considering how many games he's only played, right? And then that continues and extends to his ability to set the edge, right? No question there. He's most certainly one of the better C-gap contained players in the entire NFL, right? It's very tough to get outside of him, and in all honesty, if I was an offensive coordinator this next season coming up, and Von Miller's back, Bradley Chubb's back, I'm probably running away from Bradley Chubb's side, if we're being honest, right? Because he just does such a great job at holding up your offensive players, whether it's double teams, whether it's tight ends, tackles, whoever it is. He's just doing a great job at halting and, sort of breaking whatever it is that you're trying to do on the opposite end. So with that being said, that really is all I have for you guys today. I know I like to conclude these videos by talking about how I think that player can make a jump on the list. And with Chubb, I would say it's converting a lot of these pressures into sacks, right? You know, it's one thing to be one of the leading league leaders, in pressures, but it's another entirely to be a 13, 14, 15 sack guy, right? You know, what I want to see is him take the technical prowess against the run and combine it with the finishing of plays that we saw a little bit better in 2018, by example. So mash that together, and you're going to have one of the most balanced and well-rounded edge rushers and really just defensive end / outside linebacker hybrids in the entire NFL. But with that being said, if you think this is one of the best channels covering the NFL, make sure you guys hit the like, comment, and subscribe buttons. That way you're always in the loop with my future videos, not only for number 96, but the rest of the series. With that being said, I'm mic'd up, now I'm mic'ing out. Peace, guys.